Guys, for those of you who are still naive and unaware, let me lay down a cold, hard fact. Valve doesn't care about you. Not one bit. Because if they did, the game wouldn't be in such a flawed state. With a major patch that everyone was eagerly waiting for, all we got was skins, cosmetics, and a minor adjustment to Banana that literally no one asked for. It's safe to say that we, as players, are treated like second-class citizens. And all this recent talk about a record-breaking player base? It's just celebrating massive bot farms in China. Nothing more. Don't believe me? Go on Steam and check how many players actually have the achievement. 31%. That's how many players made the move from CSGO to CS2. The rest? All new accounts. So if you take that record 1.8 million figure and split it into thirds, you get 600k. Basically the average player base of CSGO. That means only a third of current players are real. The rest are just bot farms. When the latest Counter-Strike 2 patch dropped, hope was in the air. Many players were expecting something big, perhaps the long-awaited return of cash to the active duty map pool. But what we got instead was yet another letdown. A few minor map tweaks, a handful of gameplay adjustments, and once again, the main focus was on skins. No substantial balance changes, no new map rotation, just more cosmetics. What really rubbed salt in the wound was Valve's lightning-fast response to a random post on X suggesting that knife drop rates were slightly elevated. Within 24 hours, they pushed out a hotfix to address it. That kind of speed? Practically unheard of when it comes to actual game-breaking issues, but when it's about knives, real money items, they're suddenly wide awake. Meanwhile, the player base has been begging Valve to deal with cheaters and smurfs for years. Just glance at the Premier matchmaking leaderboard. It's a complete joke. It's filled with obvious cheaters who aren't even bothering to hide it anymore. So, what's the solution? For many, it was a move to Faceit, but even there, things aren't that much better. Sure, Faceit offered 128-tick servers during the CSGO era, but now we're all stuck with CS2's sub-tick system and no option to switch. Sub-tick was supposed to be a revolutionary answer to the 64 versus 128-tick debate. Instead, it somehow feels worse than 64-tick. And the real issue? It isn't the registration itself. In fact, the server generally logs bullets correctly, meaning both players were in sync when shots were fired. But the problem lies in the feedback. The information shown to the player is often slightly delayed, especially at higher ping. This clip illustrates the issue perfectly. What the server registers and what the player sees can be different, creating a frustrating feeling of inconsistency during fights. This isn't a new bug. It's been around since CS2 launched. Yes, Valve have made improvements, but it's still not where it needs to be. And honestly, if they had a true fix, they'd have pushed it out already. Sub-tick was hyped as the future, but at this point, just bring back 128-tick servers. If you can't fix it, at least use the system that works. The problems don't stop there. Bots have become an infestation. Join any deathmatch server and you'll see them. NPC-like players walking into walls, doing absolutely nothing. Massive bot farms, particularly in China, are farming drops and inflating player counts. Here's a perfect example caught in action. Sure, Valve rolls out occasional ban waves, but by the time they do, it's too late. The bots have already served their purpose. All a ban really does is prompt them to buy new accounts. And that's the kicker. It's a cycle that profits Valve. Bots get banned, they buy new accounts, rinse and repeat, simple math. And the only ones actually losing in this equation? The real players. If you're wondering how these bot farms work, it's pretty simple. Each bot plays just enough to qualify for the weekly case drop, usually worth around $2. Sometimes they hit a $10 or even a $120 case. Even with the lowest value drops, the accounts eventually pay for themselves. Now imagine running that operation across thousands of accounts. At that scale, it's not just farming, it's market manipulation. And while Valve rakes in the money and the bots keep farming, the rest of us are stuck playing what feels like an unfinished game. We went from a polished, battle-tested CSGO to what now feels like an early access version of CS2, with very little forward momentum. Even pro players are starting to lose patience. Just look at this post. They're starting to voice what a lot of us have been feeling for months. At the end of the day, the problems in CS2 aren't subtle or hidden. They're obvious, and the longer they go ignored, the harder it gets to believe that this isn't just about money. Cheating has always been part of Counter-Strike. It's nothing new. And anytime someone claims CS2 has a cheating problem, they're usually met with the same tired response. You're just bad, bro, get good. As if noticing something suspicious automatically makes you a sore loser. Sure, sometimes you get insta-taps, and that's legit. The guy was just better, faster, sharper. That happens. This is Counter-Strike after all. But what we're seeing in CS2 lately feels different. This isn't just sketchy pre-fires or lucky flicks. We're talking full-blown, blatant, zero-shame cheating. Think, aces across the map with a scout before the round timer even settles. You know, the kind of stuff that doesn't even try to hide anymore. With some previous experience, I know what's normal and what isn't. And I can tell you with confidence, a guy dropping 55 kills, 5 deaths, 320 ADR, and a 90% headshot percentage in 15 rounds is not legit. That's not a prodigy, that's just a cheater. And it's far from a one-off. This is becoming the new normal in matchmaking. Most blatant cheaters currently holds a premier rank of over 25,000, is playing matches every day, and remains unbanned after 900 hours of game time. Or either the Steam account is somewhere between level 1 and level 5, or the instant giveaway is when the Steam account is private. Despite the cheating problem being more obvious than ever, CS2 is still Steam's most played game by a mile. We saw recently that the player count exceeded 1.8 million players, but as I said previously, that number might be inflated due to the bots. And yet, when people see the news about CS and the numbers, a lot of people who stopped playing might hop in again to play. But here's the reality. All that momentum means nothing if every other match is ruined by a blatant cheater. And even when there isn't one, just the suspicion, just that was that legit moment, is enough to suck the fun out of it. Even the GOAT himself, Simple, had something to say about it. He didn't sugarcoat it either. On X, he posted, "You need to understand at Counter-Strike that without proper anti-cheat, Premier fucking sucks. No one gonna grind for rating like in Valorant. Easiest way? Connect with Faceit anti-cheat. Hardest way? Create much better one." He's right. Valve's Premier mode was clearly designed to pull people away from Faceit and back onto official servers. But without a competitive anti-cheat system, why would anyone leave Faceit in the first place? It's even worse for high-ranked players, especially streamers. They're the ones constantly running into the most blatant cheaters, and when your top creators are showcasing that experience to the world, it turns into one big PR disaster. New players aren't watching and thinking, I want to be a part of that. Sure, another VAC wave will roll out eventually, it always does. But by the time it hits, the damage is already done. And while we all sit around waiting for this long-rumoured anti-cheat overhaul, the clock keeps ticking and the hype from the major only buys so much goodwill. So when you step back and look at the full picture, bots flooding the servers, updates focus more on skins than gameplay, subtick still a mess, cheaters running wild, it's hard not to ask the obvious question. Does Valve actually care about us, the players? The ones who just want a fair, balanced and competitive game? Honestly, the answer's pretty clear. The writing's been on the wall for a while now. I've lost hope more times than I can count, and yet I still queue up. Just like you probably do, because no matter how frustrating it gets, there's still something magical about this game when it does work. Right now though, it feels like a one-sided, platonic relationship where the community pours in passion and love, while Valve seems to look the other way. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully someone at the top decides it's time to start caring again. But until then, I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, let's talk about it. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe.